Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why a woman can go days without texting you? Yet, when you pull away, she starts chasing you like crazy. What is it about distance that makes her want you more? Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share with you will completely change the way you approach women. If you've been following the How to Attract Women series, you'll know that most men get this wrong. They think if they give a woman everything she wants always, they're always texting, always available, they'll get her to fall for them. In fact, you'll drive her away. But there is a secret you need to understand if you want to make any woman miss you badly, no matter how great your connection is. This is going to blow your mind, so stick with me. Attraction doesn't work the way you think it does. You might be trying to be the perfect guy, always caring, always available, constantly texting her and showing her love. But let me tell you this, women are emotionally driven, and giving them everything too easily makes them bored. When was the last time you saw someone chasing something that was handed to them on a silver platter? The answer is never. The chase is where the magic happens. And if you're not creating that feeling of wanting more, you're already losing. Here's the thing, if she doesn't miss you, she will never truly love you. Sounds harsh, but it's the truth. So, how do you make her miss you in a way that actually works? If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Stop being so available. I know, this might sound counterintuitive. After all, you've probably heard advice that says, the more you show up, the more you text, the more you give, the more she appreciates it, right? Wrong. Here's the hard truth. Being too available is a massive turnoff. When you're always there, always at her beck and call, you lose your value. It's as simple as that. When a woman knows she can rely on you to drop everything for her at any given moment, she starts to take you for granted. She knows she doesn't have to work for your attention or affection, and that, my friend, is the kiss of death for attraction. But let me break this down for you. Attraction is a game of scarcity. Think about it. If you have access to something all the time, it starts to lose its appeal. That new, shiny phone you bought. At first, you were obsessed with it, right? You couldn't stop looking at it. You wanted to show it off to everyone. But over time, it just became another item you check in the morning and evening without a second thought. It's the same thing with people. Now imagine this scenario. You're out on a date, and you're constantly checking your phone, texting her back in seconds, and answering her every call. What does that say? It says you have nothing else going on. It says you have no life outside of her, a key. It says you're desperate for her attention. And trust me, she can feel it. Women want a man who's busy, who has his own life, his own purpose, and who's not sitting around waiting for her to text. When you're always available, you are no longer perceived as a high-value person. Your attention, your time, your energy, they all start to feel cheap. You lose the mystery, the excitement, and the attraction that comes from scarcity. Think of it like this. Imagine you're at an exclusive nightclub, and they only let a select few in. It's packed, the music is bumping, and everyone's having a great time. But if that nightclub started opening its doors to everyone, letting in as many people as possible, how would you feel? The vibe would completely change. The value of being there would drop. You're no longer in a special place, and you start losing interest. It's the same thing in a relationship. If you're always available, always dropping everything for her, you're not keeping her interested. Women don't want a guy who's always hanging around, waiting for them to notice him. Women want a man who's a little hard to get, who's not just available at the drop of a hat. Here's the thing. The more you make yourself available, the less she will miss you. And I can guarantee you, this attraction thrives on absence. When you pull back a little, when you give her space, that's when she starts thinking about you more. That's when she begins to wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Why hasn't he texted me back yet? You're not playing games by doing this. You're creating a healthy dynamic where she starts to feel the emotional gap between you two. And trust me, that emotional gap is what fuels her desire. It keeps her on her toes. It keeps her curious. It makes her want to earn your attention. What does this look like in practice? You might be wondering, how do I actually stop being so available? Here's how to start. Text less. One of the biggest mistakes guys make is texting constantly. You feel like you need to check in every day to make sure she knows you're still interested. But that's not how attraction works. Instead, space out your responses. Don't reply immediately. Let her wonder. Let her miss you a bit. You don't have to be rude or ignore her completely, but give her some space. Respond after a reasonable amount of time. Show her you have a life outside of texting her 24/7. Trust me, this will drive her crazy in the best way. Set boundaries with your time. If she calls you at 2 p.m. on a Sunday and you're busy doing something else, don't just pick up because you feel obligated. Let it go to voicemail. When she asks why you didn't answer, don't make excuses. Tell her you are busy with something important. Make her feel that your time is valuable. Dan, TB, available on her terms. If she's the one always dictating when you talk or when you meet, you're doing it wrong. Stop agreeing to every plan she suggests. When you make plans, make sure you have your own priorities, your own hobbies, your friends, your work. When you set up a time to see her, let her know your schedule isn't open all the time. This subtly communicates that you're not just sitting around waiting for her. Don't answer every call. I know it might seem rude to ignore her calls, but you need to make her realize that you're a busy person. When you call her back, let her know you are doing something important, whether it's work, hanging with friends, or working on your goals. This shows that you're not sitting around waiting for her to call you. Create an air of mystery. Stop telling her everything. You don't have to share every little detail of your day or your life. If you're always oversharing and being an open book, you lose that mysterious appeal. Keep some things to yourself. Keep her wondering about what you're up to, where you've been, and what you're doing. This will keep her intrigued and coming back for more. When you stop being so available, you give her the chance to experience the opposite: absence. And it's during this absence that she begins to realize how much she misses you. She starts thinking about you more, fantasizing about your next encounter. She starts feeling the pull toward you that she can't quite explain. And here's the thing. You, Dan T, have to be a jerk to make this work. You just have to stop being too nice, stop being too available, and stop giving her everything without her having to work for it. The more you make her work for your time, your attention, and your affection, the more she appreciates it. And trust me, when she appreciates it, she misses it. And that's when she really starts to fall for you. Attraction doesn't come from always being available. It comes from making yourself a little bit scarce, a little bit hard to get. So, start pulling back. Stop being at her beck and call. Let her miss you. Let her chase you. And watch as her attraction for you grows exponentially. When you do this right, she won't be able to stop thinking about you. And soon, she'll be chasing you, wondering when she'll see you next. That, my friend, is the power of absence and scarcity. Remember, you're a high-value man. You have things to do. You're not waiting around for anyone. You're creating a life that she wants to be a part of. And when you stop being so available, that's when she starts missing you. And that's when the magic happens. So go ahead, be a little hard to get. You'll thank me later. Here's a simple rule you need to follow. Never let her feel like she has you figured out completely. If you're constantly giving her attention, answering every text immediately, and making her the center of your world, you're showing her that you have no other options, no other priorities. And that's when she starts pulling away. Women are attracted to the mystery. You want to leave her wanting more. Let her know you're busy and have your own life. Don't always be the first to text her or respond right away. Let her wonder what you're up to. Let her chase you a little bit. Here's where things get tricky and where most men mess up. It's not just about physical distance. It's about emotional distance. This is where you need to learn the art of creating a little bit of emotional tension. When you're with her, you need to be emotionally present. But when you're not with her, you need to give her space to miss you. This means you don't need to text her every time you think about her. You don't need to call her all the time just to check in. Instead, you need to create a situation where she feels that emotional space between you two. It's during this time when she starts thinking about you, wondering what you're doing, and wishing you were there with her. This doesn't mean you need to be cold or distant, but you can't always be the one reaching out. Let her feel the absence of your attention. Let her get that feeling of missing you. That's when the attraction kicks in. One of the biggest mistakes men make is being too predictable. When a woman knows exactly how you're going to react every time the spark starts to die. Predictability is the enemy of attraction. Women are attracted to the unknown. They want a man who keeps them guessing, who surprises them with his actions, and who doesn't fall into a routine. Predictability breeds boredom. Imagine you're always texting her at 7 p.m. without fail. She knows what time it is. She knows you're going to message, and it becomes a routine. But if you switch it up, if you keep her on her toes, that's when things start to get exciting. Text her at random times. Change things up a little. Don't always be the same guy she expects you to be. There's nothing more powerful than walking away at the peak of a conversation. Whether it's a date or a phone call, you want to leave her with a feeling of wanting more. You don't need to drag out every conversation until it's boring. You need to learn the art of timing. When you're with her, make her feel special. Make her laugh. Make her feel excited. But when things are at their best, when the conversation is flowing, when the sparks are flying, that's when you should pull back. End the conversation or the date on a high note and leave her wanting more. This will have her thinking about you all day, wondering when she see you again, and wishing the conversation didn't end. Women are emotional creatures, and if you want to make her miss you, you need to create an emotional connection. It's not enough to just talk about surface-level topics. You need to dig deeper. Ask her about her dreams, her fears, her passions, and what truly matters to her. Share your own experiences and connect on an emotional level. When she starts feeling like she can trust you and open up, that S, when you L, begin to build a connection that she L miss when you re not around. But be careful. Don't overshare or turn the conversation into therapy. Keep it balanced. Show her that you're someone she can emotionally connect with, but don't make it too heavy or forced. Lastly, the most important thing you need to understand is that attraction builds when you're not around. When you're not constantly texting, calling, or seeing her, her attraction to you will increase. When you're physically or emotionally absent, it forces her to think about you more. Don't make the mistake of over-communicating. Don't live your life with your phone glued to your hand. Be a busy man and let her know that you're not available all the time. And here's the kicker. When you're not around, that's when she'll miss you the most. That's when the emotional longing starts to take over.